You're listening to the PRO Media Network, the next level in entertainment.
Here he goes. Throwing it down. How about a poster? Anthony Davis is on fire.
You're listening to the Pelicans post-game report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
For all things Pelicans, you're now listening to Pelican Post Report on the PRO Media Network. I'm Big Q, chiming on with you guys, and this episode, podcast 209, we're going to be talking about the recent acquisition of Jahlil Okafor. That's right, the big man from, I guess you could say from Brooklyn, who was a part of the Philly process that they all like to push, which is the Philly process is a big farce. They had just as many garbage first round picks as they had hit on two guys. You don't know what Markelle Fultz's going to bring, but anyway, this is the Pelican show. But anyway, thank y'all for joining us today on the Pelican Post Game Report on the PRO Media Network. We're going to start off by talking about this in this shortened show, about this acquisition and how effective it will be to the Pelicans organization. Now, the Pels been after this guy for the last couple of years. They was trying to trade for him a year or so ago, didn't quite like what they had to have given up for him. But of course, Dale stayed patient and ultimately still got the man that he wanted in the end. And now, of course, I've been all last year and the previous years, I've been really going at the Pelicans about the fact that they're so small. Outside of Anthony Davis, at the time it was DeMarcus Cousins, Nikolai Mirotic wasn't here, but they were so small at the big man position. When AD sits down, you didn't have anybody else. Now, Alexis Jinka wasn't with the team for the entire year. He's probably the biggest center on the team, but I don't think Alexis Jinka is in the long-term plans for the Pelicans, to be quite honest with you. I think they'll probably end up putting him and Solomon Hill and possibly a prospect or something in the trade to kind of move him, because he has a pretty decent contract for a big man. He's not bad, but he's kind of slow-footed. To break the deal down, this was reported by ESPN yesterday that Jahlil Okafor is signing on with the Pels. Now, the deal, according to the information we got from Sporttrack.com, is a one-year deal worth $1.56. It has a second-year team option. So it's actually a 2-year deal. If the really cheap, by the way, really cheap deal to get this guy. Now, for those who don't know who Jahlil Okafor is, he had a lot of promise coming out of Duke. Really sought after big man out of Duke, played with Mike Krzyzewski's system, was successful, just like most players are. He was drafted 3rd overall back in 2015. So it's not that long ago that this kid was on top of the world by the Philadelphia process, so they picked him up. Of course, he played a few years with the team and didn't work out. The first couple of years he played with him, he played in 53 games. He started 48 games. He was playing 30 minutes a game his first season. He averaged 17 and a half points a game that first season. 17 and 7. Not bad for a big man, right? The next year, his minutes dropped to 23 minutes a game. He played 50 games, started 33 games. His production dropped to about 11.8. Might as well round it off to 12 points a game. His rebounds were about 5, so it was 12 and 5 the next year. Of course, he had injuries during that period of time, and ultimately the team decided to trade him to Brooklyn in the 2017-2018 season. That he played 2 games with Philly, then they shipped him to Brooklyn. He played 26 games for Brooklyn, seen 12 and a half minutes a game, 6 points a game, and about 3 rebounds. So a dramatic dip in Jahlil Okafor's points and production in minutes, because it looks like to me he had some injuries there. And obviously the Philadelphia 76ers, who's supposed to be these great people building the prospect, which is, the progress of whatever you want to call it, turned out to be trash. It's a trash concept. Only two guys they really hit on, and Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, big whoop, But obviously, with Jahlil Okafor, what I'm saying is for the Pelican Nation, like, oh, we getting this guy. Well, if you look at their roster, Jahlil Okafor is not coming in. He won't be a starter. I still think they'll play newly signed Julius Randle at the center position a lot. Me and DC went over that. And, you can probably see some games where AD might be at the 5 because a lot of teams run small lineups. In some games, you probably see Julius Randle there. 6'10", 250. Rebounding is his nature. Good defensive guy. Jahlil Okafor, by all accounts, will be a guy that comes off the bench. He'll give you the length that I've been complaining about for the last 3 years. About having that length off the bench. He's another 7-foot guy that can come in. He doesn't move that well. But I think it's a misconception that he can't get better and he can't fit in the schema system. I think Philly just was a bad fit. If you look at his first year, the guy was averaging 17 and a half points and 7 rebounds in his rookie season. So he wasn't that bad. Of course, he had a few injuries here and his minutes decreased. Of course, when your minutes decrease, your points going to decrease, your stats going to decrease. We look at points and rebounds, but minutes is really the solid thing. If your minutes are not there, you're not going to be able to put up that kind of number unless you're a special player that make things happen when you're on the court. With all that being said, his career stats is 13 points a game, about 5 rebounds. That's not bad. Now he comes to the Pels for a really cheap deal. And he joins his distant cousin, a relative, Emeka Okafor, who is on the team as well. So I don't know what is probably him in the Okafor's battle for positions. Jahlil has the upside. Super cheap deal with a team option to keep him around on a super cheap deal next year. Another 7-footer that in certain packages you could bring in off the bench to play. And I think it's just the fact that you need a system that can work with him. And I think the system will do okay with him. A lot of people say no, because he can't run. Let me tell you something. That's why you train. You can train, you can get faster. People forget that. It's like if you can't, because you can't run, you can't get fast. That's bullcrap. In the end, that you train to get faster, you train to get stronger and everything else. So Jahlil Okafor, I think he'll be a good addition. He gets that length to the bench. And he has the size, the center presence off the bench that we really need. And his potential is through the roof. This guy is just coming into his 4th season and a 3rd overall pick just 4 seasons ago. And you get him for less than $2 million a season with a team option. That's a terrific move by Dale Demps. But let's take a look at the depth chart moving ahead. Now, of course, the Pelicans, if you look at the starting 5. Now, this is my perception of what the starting 5 is going to look like. And I think it addresses wholeheartedly the fact that the Pelicans did a terrific job in upgrading the size of the point guard position, even though Rajon Rondo gave him 5 minutes to match the $300,000 or $400,000 more that the Lakers gave him, which is ridiculous to me. In retrospect, if I couldn't get DeMarcus Cousins, I don't need Rajon Rondo. Remember, we only got Rondo because of Cousins. So in the end, we upgrade the point guard in size. We lose experience there. But this guy, Elfrid Payton, he's like Jahlil Okafor. He's like Julius Randle. These are guys that have chips on their shoulders, young player in the prime of their careers looking on 1-year deals to make an impression. These are hungry players. They're going to add hunger and defense ability to the Pelicans team. Payton, 6'4". He's 6'4". Tall point guard, handles the ball, is aggressive, can play smaller point guards, and can guard the bigger ones now. So you get a 6'4" point guard. You have Drew Holiday, who's basically 6'4", but in tennis shoes. I guess you could say Drew's 6'5", who's playing on another level. I don't even think he's going to dip back to the ordinary Drew. I think he is comfortable at that level as long as he stays healthy. He's at the 2, so it's Elfrid Payton, 6'4", Drew Holiday, 6'5", 6'4", whatever you want to say. Then you go to the small forward position. Small forward position, in my estimation, is going to be Nikolai Mirotic. Nikolai Mirotic is the best small forward that you have on this team. He's 6'10". So you have a 6'10" small forward, Nikolai Mirotic, who can shoot your damn eyes out. I've heard reviews on Nikolai. He's not living up to all this kind of crap and garbage. I don't know what these guys got against him. But Nikolai Mirotic is a solid player. He can guard multiple positions, and he'll bang your eyes out. You know, he's unconscious from down there. He's the perfect guy that you need when you're to give Drew Holiday and to give Anthony Davis that position. So small forwards, Nikolai Mirotic, 6'10", of course. Then you have the 7-foot and Anthony Davis playing at the 4. Now I'll put him at the 4 because I like him at the 4 because he plays better at the 4 because he is a 4. I don't want him at the 5 getting beat up, playing Steven Adams or Rudy Gobert or any of these other traditional centers. No. That's what Julius Randle is for. You know, if we got to bring a guy off the bench, if we stick out Alexis Jinka, let him body up against Rudy Gobert. Let Jahlil Okafor, who's a 7-footer, bang with Rudy Gobert. Let Emeka Okafor bang with him. That's what we got multiple centers for. Throw them at them. And then certain switch-offs, I can understand if AD's there. But 7-footer, power forward, AD. At the center position, 6'10", Julius Randle. Now, of course, they'll probably swap those as the season going because most teams do play small ball. And I can see Anthony Davis playing at the 5 at certain games or whatnot. But it's okay. And that's my front 5. You know, and of course, Julius Randle, Elfrid Payton, those guys add defensive effort and rebound and toughness. That's what they bring to the starting 5. Now, off the bench, it gets a little precarious because you have to think about, okay, we don't have a traditional point guard. Now, of course, I want to put Frank Jackson somewhere in here, but I can't trust Frank Jackson because the guy is a walking injury bug. I mean, the poor fellow. I mean, he's like he's been snake bitten. You know, he can't seem to stay healthy. You know, and until he can, I can't really consider him a person that can really be a solid contributor off the bench. So as the first 2 guards I got coming off the bench is, of course, E'Twaun Moore, who I think will be more at the 2 guard position coming off the bench, and Ian Clark, who I think will be more at the 1. And you can interchange those guys because they're just terrific effort guys, and they can shoot the 3. This is the perfect scenario for E'Twaun Moore. I think he'll make a terrific 6-man coming off the bench and going back to his natural position, which is shooting guard. He's a bit undersized. Him and Ian Clark. But those guys, to me, are terrific. They can work well together. They'll bang your eyes out at the 1 and 2. That's the best I got as far as they're concerned. And Frank Jackson, when he gets healthy, you'll probably circulate him somewhere in there as well. As at the power forward position off the bench, you know, I'm looking at Sheik Diallo. At the power forward. You know, he's kind of remind me of Dennis Rodman without all the crazy antics and the colorful hair. He gets the rebound and then sprints up the court with his hand up like a wide receiver to catch the pass. You know, ultimately, if you look at the film, he does this a lot. And I wonder if some of those point guards will actually notice him and start getting him the ball, rewarding him from doing that, getting the rebound and then beating everybody up the court for an easy score. You got to start looking at that because that can be really easy points for you. I have to put Sheik Diallo in there. He paid his dues, you know, so to speak, you know, playing at the bottom rotation. The only thing was holding him back was Elvin Gentry. He was showing the energy and effort during games when they were losing and coming in and playing to the best of his ability. This year, I think Elvin Gentry will let him have more of a longer leash. So I have to plug him in at the power forward position off the bench. So, of course, we got Ian Clark, we got E'Twaun Moore. Then at power forward, we have Sheik Diallo. Now, small forward off the bench, this comes interesting because when you look at the contracts, there's a massive contract off the bench, and y'all know what I'm talking about. It's Solomon Hill. He's making $12 million a year. Solomon is going to be a guy that contributes a lot, whether it's at times where he play at the power forward position, which he could play, and at the small forward position, which he can play defensively, but he needs to work on his shot. Hopefully he can get with Nikolai Mirotic, and those guys he can borrow some stuff from Nikolai with that 3-point shooting, because if he can add that to his arsenal, he would be pretty tough to deal with because he's a decent defensive player already. But Solomon Hill's a small forward. $12 million a year on his contract. You're not going to pay a guy $12 million a year and then bench him for Darius Miller, who makes $2 million a year. It's just not going to happen. So I can see Sheik Diallo at power forward off the bench. And then the small forward position would be, to me, Solomon Hill. That's just what it's going to be until ultimately they move him, because they're looking to move Solomon Hill. just hadn't found the right taker or the right offer. But sooner or later, Solomon is going to be going between 9 to tread that line. So in a matter of time. And then, of course, okay, we got Ian Clark, we got Etwine Moore, we got Sheik Diallo, we got Solomon Hill. And, of course, the center, the center is going to be, because you got 3 centers that you can say, well, these guys have an opportunity. But Jahlil Okafor, to me, is going to be the best center off the bench. He's in his 4th year, got a lot of potential, cheap contract, healthy, and the team wants to see what this man can contribute. And in that free-flowing system Elvin Gentry has, I think Jahlil Okafor will be a good addition. A lot of people say, no, it's a bad addition. I disagree. I think Jahlil Okafor can learn to play and will thrive in this system because he knows how to play, but it just wasn't good fits. In that 2nd year, his potential and everything fell off. And it's very important from a confidence standpoint that some of these players gain some more confidence. Elvin Gentry's free-flowing, fast offensive system where everybody out running and scoring and moving, I think Jahlil Okafor is going to benefit from that just tremendously. That's just my thing on this. So there you go on my depth chart. Now, of course, outside of those 10 guys, you got 2 more guys. Of course, 15 guys is what your roster make up. And, of course, I will have to put outside of that, Frank Jackson is a guy I got to circulate somewhere in there. Then you're looking at people like some of the rookie guys. Like I like Troy Williams. A lot of people not talking about Troy Williams, but the Pelicans picked up a 3-and-D. I don't know if I could say 3-and-D because the guy shot 29% for his career. That's not setting the world on fire. But Troy Williams is a energy player. He has great size for that wing position at 6'7". He could find a way into that lineup with the size at 6'7" and shooting 48, 49% from the field. That is excellent. And also, he's a high flyer. He'll dunk the ball on you. He play defense on you. I love the Troy Williams move. And then there's the other guys like Javon Blewett, who's a guy that can shoot the 3 well. I love to see what he's going to bring. And then you probably have Darius Miller's in there too. So how could I forget Darius? So we'll circle those 6, kind of put those guys in the mixture too, outside of those top 10 guys. That'll be my 5 guys, the Blewett and Troy Williams and one of the young guys that probably stick around, whether it's Gerald Green's brother or not. So to address the size position, I have to give a lot of credit to Dale Demps. That's a mouthful. Try saying that 5 times in a row. To give him big credit for what he's done with the Pelicans this year with just a little bit of money he's had. Of course, the number one option. The number one priority going into next year is locking up Anthony Davis on one of the richest contracts in NBA history. To give Anthony Davis that $200 million contract and locking him up next year, that's got to be at the top of the priority list. And the Pelicans have a lot of one-year contracts now. So the Pelicans, a lot of people not talking about them. But we got Drew Holiday locked in for multiple years. We'll get Anthony Davis locked in. And then the Pelicans, of course, will add a pricey free agent in 2019. Might not be a class 1 guy, might be somebody right up under there. But imagine if you can get a guy like Tobias Harris to come in here and play with Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday. And then you fill in your roster. So the Pelicans are setting themselves up. But this year alone, they're setting themselves up to be really competitive in the Western Conference. And they have to be because everybody else has gotten better. Everybody. Sacramento's gotten better in my estimation with some of the pieces they add. You also have the Lakers. You have Memphis, who's gotten better. You have Denver, who is strong. You have OKC, who's going to be formidable. Everybody's gotten better, and the Pelicans have done a series of solid moves to increase to not namey moves or big pricey splashes like the DeMarcus Cousins trade, but in the end, the Pelicans have done seriously solid and economic moves that will improve this team. Are they better than they were last year? And I'm saying post DeMarcus Cousins, when Cousins went down and we made the trade to get Nikolai Mirotic, which was a blessing in disguise, by the way. We get this guy, and now he is going to be a major. This team, is it better than last year's team after Cousins went down? And I think about it and I say, well, last year's team, we had Ian Clark, we had Etwine Moore, we had Rajon Rondo leading the charge. And I have to say, when you look at it, and Emeka Okafor was the center in many of those games, I got to say we upgraded a lot. Now, DeMarcus Cousins is the best center in the league in my estimation, but what they have in place of Rondo, and Cousins and the way they were playing after Cousins went down. And you say, okay, well, they were playing that they was playing that way without Cousins. So the only thing you really miss, if you think about it, is Rajon Rondo's experience. Well, hopefully the Pelicans learn something from playing with Rondo to be able to apply. But I would have to consider an upgrade when you look at all of the moves that they make, because Troy Williams, Jahlil Okafor, those guys will improve the bench. They'll bring youth and defense, athleticism to the bench. So I have to say I do think that the team is improved. Is it greatly improved? That's still up to debate. I don't think it's a great improvement, but I still say that they're trending in the right direction. So that'll do it for the show. If you agree or disagree, let me know in the comment section. If you have any questions, feel free to comment or send your questions to us here at thesportscoma@gmail.com. We answer your questions on air, or we'll reply to them via email. But also, if you like the show, please feel free to go to our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/the PRO Media Network and make a donation. Sign up. As PRO Media Network, we're looking to make a push for 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. And also, just to let you guys know that you can join our social media family at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest. There's a number of sites. It's in the description section below. So thank you for listening to the Pelican Postgame Report on the PRO Media Network. Peace.
Forget ESPN or Fox. Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
What's up, sports world? The PRO Media Network is on a mission to reach 10,000 subscribers. So besides our regular programs like the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, the Pelican Post Game Report, Rapid Fire TSC, and others, we will be expanding out and offering other content like movie, anime, and gaming reviews for your entertainment. So if you enjoy our content, please donate at our Patreon page. Also subscribe, comment, and share. And help the PRO Media Network reach 10,000 subs. Peace.
What's up, sports world? This Big Q from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Talking to you about the website, theposhlifestyle.com. That's right, poshlifestyle.com. A great website where you can get great products at great prices. They sell organic herbs, vitamins, supplements, water filters for your home, EMF and cell phone radiation protection, healing magnetics and healing crystals, personal protection devices like cell phones, stun guns, and mace sprays, organic deodorants, shampoos, soaps, toothpaste, and more. They also sell 10A grade Brazilian hair. 10A music is available now. All kind of the latest downloadable mixtapes. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to the poshlifestyle.com. That's the Posh Lifestyle, life spelled with a Y, LYFE style.com. Put in the Sports Coma for the 10% discount on your purchase. It's a win-win. So get your mind and body right with the Posh Lifestyle.